Hey y'all, welcome to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, French candidates, and generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
Una, I've been doing science this week.
Did you put vinegar on baking soda?
Wait, oh yeah, because that makes a volcano. That's how volcanoes are born.
Did you take a piece of moldy fruit and stick a couple labels on it?
Oh yeah, to show how it changes over time. I have not. What I've been doing is I've been indulging my my redneck side, indulging old young Dusty during my redneck periods. I've been watching something called tough truck races. Are you familiar with what those are?
Not at all.
Essentially, you buy a piece of shit truck and or Jeep. You drive it to the county fair typically, and then there is a track that is set up that's probably really good for dirt bikes, but will just wreck the fuck out of a car if you drive over it. And then people race their trucks over it. And you have to stay within a certain lane. If you hit a cone, that's a 3-second penalty. If you cut through the track, that's 5 seconds. There's like, street legal and then street illegal cars. And those are typically the ones that are like made for this. But the street legal ones are the best because it's cars not meant to do anything more than go over a speed bump trying their best. So it's really fun background noise to have. And I've discovered something and I'm tracking something. And so I can't really say 100% I can prove this, but I've noticed that the more, say, Trumpist, alt-right fascist iconography that you have on your truck, the more likely of one of two things will be. Either you're going to drive your street legal car through the track as if you are barely going half the speed limit of a school zone. Which will kind of balance out the cheers that you initially get from your fuck Joe Biden sticker when people realize, oh, you're going to be boring to watch. Or they'll run it at about half speed, and then their engine will just explode into smoke and transmission fluid about halfway through. What I'm saying is that the tough truck should get the politics out of the event. The more political people are, the worse they do. And there have been exceptions. I've seen one that's done well, but the rest are just bad drivers and shit cars that will definitely break.
This is amazing. And also, I totally want to be a driver in this. I totally want to get a busted ass street legal car and do this up. I also want to make sure that my car has bumper stickers like Satan is my co-pilot.
Oh my God, yes. Like, the Antifa wagon just driving into Redford, Oregon. Yeah. Like, you'd get so many boos, but I guarantee you, if you just like fucking threw everything you had into speed and recklessness, you'd be a star by the end of the day.
Yes.
Sending it, I believe, is how they refer to it in the tough trucks world. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep track of this for a few more weeks because I found out it's really good background noise to have when you're researching shit. Because like you can ignore most of it, and then when you hear the crowd go, "Oh, that typically means a truck flipped over," you can rewind 5 seconds and be like, that Chevy Astro didn't have a chance. So that's one way I spent my week this week. So we're going to start a little differently this week. Una, what is your opinion and feeling and belief towards aliens?
Okay, let me explain. First off,
this started out confrontational and I love it.
I subscribe to a lot of astrology meme Instagram accounts because I am a woman who is a millennial. And for the Aquarius, which is my sign, they're always like, Aquarians, like, you're just really into like aliens and conspiracy things. And it's like, no, I'm not. And frankly, I think it wouldn't be too hard for you to just push a little harder and find something else that's like weird and out there. If you're going to generalize, like, could you at least be a little bit more interesting? It's always the aliens. But to follow up, I have been back on my bullshit, i.e. watching X-Files nonstop.
Oh, wonderful.
So
great.
There you go. So that's in terms of like, do I believe? Sure, fine, yeah. I listened to that like cosmic horror soundscape that NASA recently.
Oh, the sound of a black hole.
Yeah, that I can't wait to like run into on SoundCloud again and again and again. But yeah, I don't know. It's like they're not. I'm trying to figure out if I have to pay student loans back, man. Like I don't have time for aliens.
Yeah, we have to wait for Joe Biden to make a decision that could be great or a spit in the face.
Are you going to give me the equivalent of like a 10% off in Illinois, which just means a tax-free item, or are you actually going to do something for baby Democrats?
I mean, I would love to buy a house eventually, so it could be taken away when I'm 70. This is the dream. So yeah, I think I would balance mine with I would really like to believe they exist. Mathematically, there has to be life on other planets. It would be honestly terrifying if we were the only living species in an entire universe that expands further and further with each day to the point that one day we will look up and there will be no stars.
Because if you want to bring in like religion into this of just like, but God created us, like, let's all admit we are the first pancake. God created the heavens and the earth in 7 days, and he was like, okay, that was a beta. Let's keep going.
I'm gonna put this in the part of the universe where no one else can find this.
Yeah.
And if they do, no one on the planet will believe them. So it should be fine.
It's like an age-old stand-up joke. I forget who first told it, but like decades and decades old. That it's like if there are aliens, they absolutely treat us like Alabama. Like we are the part of the universe that you drive by and like lock your car.
Oh man. So yeah. So I would very much like to. There has to be species elsewhere. Whether or not they have come here, I would like, there's a lot of bullshit I would like to believe, but I can't really get myself there. I probably believe more in ghosts and a number of cryptids more than I do that aliens have been here.
I know for a fact the ocean is not to be fucked with.
Oh no,
I
no,
know more about space than the ocean.
Yes. The ocean is the worst part of the earth. But yeah, I think it would just be like ghosts, Sasquatch, a number of ocean monsters. I mean, probably aliens and then black-eyed children, which if you haven't read about those fuckers, sweet lord. It's a copy pasta that I think has come to life. And maybe Mothman would be in there somewhere. Either which way. I ask this because we are going to be talking about someone who, to the best of my knowledge, is a 100% true believer of not just aliens being real, but they have been here so many times.
Ooh.
And made it his life's work. So we're going to be talking about a guy named Gabriel Green. So Gabriel was born in Whittier, California in 1924. And like a lot of our lesser known folks that we talk about, his childhood is lost to time. What we do know is he does graduate from Whittier Union High School in 1942. And he then moved to Los Angeles, which is always a good choice when you're 18.
Mm-hmm.
And he went straight to the Art Center School of Photography. And within a year, he got a degree to be a photographer.
But he didn't go into the army.
Well, funny about that, because it is 1943 and Pearl Harbor has now happened. So he goes into the Navy, actually.
Okay, sure, it's happening.
So I'm sure he fought in World War II. It's probably very hard to get a not fighting job in the Navy during that time when you have both the Pacific and the Atlantic Ocean on fire.
You're somewhere on a boat doesn't mean that you're necessarily like in front of the enemy.
Correct. But you're definitely in some level of extreme to very extreme danger. So I have no questions that he fought somewhere at some point. We just don't know where. In 1946, he would retire from the service, move back to Los Angeles, and gets a job as a photographer with the Los Angeles school system. So I just picture that meaning he takes all the yearbook pictures. All yearbooks. Like goes school to school, takes the headshots. He'll like show up to take pictures of games and stuff like that. I have no idea how big the school system was back then, but I do know now it is behemoth, and you probably need at least 2 photographers for that job.
Oh, yeah.
Or you just have the students do it on their phones.
Can you imagine they have that app for like those squiggle line backgrounds?
Oh my god.
Retro.
He invented the laser background. So this would now enter him into a period of questionable postgraduate claims. Now, some of these are things that are said about him. One of them is something he said of himself. So these rumors include him graduating from Los Angeles City College, the Woodbury Business College, and him stating that he got a PhD in physics from the University of California at Berkeley. Which he claimed to have gotten in 1953. And this in and of itself, you could probably lie about and get away with it. I don't know how far back schools are keeping those records. The thing that made it difficult to believe is that he would also claim that he made multiple contributions to the standard model of particle physics. Yeah, so the thing,
how like you couldn't at least be like, I don't know, I don't want to dig at any of the UC schools, they're all good in and of themselves, but like UC Santa Cruz, like you couldn't just like make it a little bit more of a believable lie. No, you had to go to Cal.
I had to go to Berkeley. I had to go to like the best one, and I have to major in physics, not just physics but particle physics, which was a baby science back then in its birthing states. And not only that, but one of the major contributors of the standard model, which guides physics to this day. So I'm going to try my best to summarize what the standard model is to explain even further why this is bullshit. So the standard model is a theory that describes three of the four fundamental forces of the entire universe. The three that they were able to cover is electromagnetic force, weak force, and strong force. The one that they weren't able to do is gravity, because gravity's weird.
Cool.
And so for physicists, the standard model is a huge fucking deal, and Gabriel had absolutely nothing to do with it, because the two men who are the fathers of this work are a pair of dudes named Yang Chen-ning and Robert Mills, and neither of them did their work at UC Berkeley. In fact, the two would work together at the Brookhaven National Laboratory in Upton, New York, and the only way Gabriel would have even been close to their work is if he was hired on by the US Department of Energy, which he wasn't. I will give Gabe credit for this. In future interviews, he would openly say he had no college experience. So he might have done this lie at one point, but he eventually lets it go away.
So one of the two founding fathers of the standard model also didn't have a college.
Oh no. Both of them were very collegiately wizened, I suppose. It was Gabriel who would eventually say, "Oh, I never had any college experience," despite claiming at one point that he got a PhD in physics from UC Berkeley.
Yeah.
And was like the father of physics.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Yeah. It's a big lie. And knowing what I've at least learned about the guy, I genuinely get the feeling that he felt bad about it. Like, I think he felt the pressure to try to build up his resume, because once we start talking about what he's doing in 1953, it kind of makes more sense.
Okay. Yeah. Now I'm intrigued. Now it's like you're on Tinder saying you're 6 foot and then you're buying lifts for your shoes. And it's like, you have to go in deep.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
I'm sorry I lied. I don't own that tiger.
Right.
So the only other bit of info that we have about Gabe before he really kind of hits the national spotlight is that in 1955, he wrote into the opinion section of the Los Angeles Evening Citizens News, and he had a cure for how to fix traffic in Los Angeles. And clearly he had the right idea, because that's not an issue today. So at the time, ultra-millionaire Howard Hughes was deep into the aviation field and was working on something called the Hughes XH-17. This was a helicopter prototype that took its first test flight in 1952, and he would call it the Flying Crane. The body looked like a typical helicopter as we know them today, but instead of it sitting on tracks underneath it, it's sort of like if you took scaffolding and put wheels on it and then ratcheted that to a helicopter to roll around on. But even worse is the rotor system above it, where typically on a helicopter, the rotor system is between 80 to 110 feet. The Crane's wingspan was 134 feet and had to have 2 engines to run the whole thing. It was a nonsensical behemoth. There is a picture of it proving the scaffold track that it's sitting on can fit 2 whole Hudson sedans right under it.
Just bring back streetcars. Jesus Christ. You're like the Elon Musk of your day. This is terrible.
Yeah, seriously, every transportation inventor just wants to really make us all forget that public transportation is and was a thing.
But in like the worst way possible. This will require a metric ton of leaden gas, and it'll go 5 miles an hour. But look, 2 Hudson sedans, good sir.
Yeah, you could drive it on the ground if you wanted. I mean, the rotors are bending down like you're trying to carry a thing of siding just through the hull. But so after hearing of this helicopter, Gabriel would posit that one should be bought by the city so they could fly it onto the highway, pick up wrecked or stalled out cars, lift them off, and just carry them to a different location. And that way you don't have rubberneckers, you don't have people getting stuck behind. You could just remove the car and everything's fine.
You don't have evidence. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good point that he's forgetting about debris, which is typically a residual of wrecks. Also, blood. Yeah, you're right. People who have died. Keep them in the car.
The car that isn't full
the
anymore.
Hospital system can buy one. Fucking, oh my god, fucking Kaiser Permanente could probably afford 3.
Kaiser Permanente knows you can't, but it doesn't matter. You're still getting the bill.
We bought a 4th for the CEO just to use. He uses it to fly around and crash CAT scan machines.
Oh my gosh.
But
Chuck's at the hill. It's fun.
Yeah. One problem, though, with Gabe's plan. Well, actually, there's a few. There's 4 problems.
Just one?
Well, 5. I counted 5
Feels
problems.
airtight.
Yeah. So 1, Hughes Aircraft only made 1 flying crane in the 3 years that the program existed. 2, the test flights never really went well. They found the whole thing to be far too cumbersome to control and required perfect weather to be anywhere safe to even troubleshoot the thing. 3, its size and use of 2 motors to spin the rotors made it a gas guzzler and far too inefficient compared to other helicopters. 4, it could only fly 40 miles on a full tank.
Called it.
And 5, the same month that Gabriel wrote into the paper was when the Hughes Aircraft Company decided to end the program and scrap the whole helicopter.
Oh, it sucks being a visionary.
It really does. I mean, the funny thing is another helicopter company, sounds like Swarovski crystals, but they would have end up inventing a much better version of this helicopter that is smaller, but could still lift things. And they would end up doing that in the next year. So, he could at least go to that and say, hey, we should buy some military helicopters to stop traffic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an idea. And I don't think Gabriel was that crestfallen by the company no longer making the flying crane because his true passion had already kicked off and he was a year away from it becoming his entire life. And while I can't prove that this is the thing that kicked off his obsession, I think I can make a pretty solid assumption. And that thing is aliens, as I brought up earlier. And I think it'd probably be really easy to assume that it was the recovery of a weather balloon in the deserts of Roswell, New Mexico that really turned it onto the world of outer space. But it was actually something bigger that we really don't talk about. And Roswell is just like a tiny moment in something that was quite bug hook for the time.
Ooh.
So on June 24th, a full 2 weeks before Roswell happened, a civilian pilot named Kenneth Arnold was flying to Yakima, Washington for business. And while he's flying, he gets word of a $5,000 reward to find a military transport plane that had crashed near where he was. He decided to make
like 2 Hudson sedans strapped.
The Hudsons are fine. The helicopter's fucked. So he's like, fuck it, I have time. I'm my own boss. Let's go try to find this crashed military plane.
Love it.
He flies down there, looks for a bit, but he doesn't have a ton of fuel, so he ends up giving up. And he starts making his way back to Yakima when he looks over towards the Mount Rainier area and he sees some bright lights near the mountain. And when he looked closer, he saw that those lights were actually 9 saucer-like UFOs flying past the mountain. They would eventually fly towards Keith's plane, kind of buzz the front of it a little bit, and then fly off towards Mount Adams and disappear. Kenneth stated that the whole time he just assumed it was some kind of newfangled military test craft, but the thing that made him question this is he started to do the math of how fast the ships were flying. By his estimation, they were flying 1,700 miles per hour, which was 3 times faster than any aircraft of the time could go, and would have been the first plane to break the sound barrier on Earth. And when he landed, he got to all of his pilot friends like, guys, I think I saw something. And, they start trying to troubleshoot what they saw. Is it like, is it lights? Maybe it was a military craft. And eventually Kenneth has to go. The thing is, those pilots, they were a little too strung up after his stories. And so they started talking. They started spreading the word. And eventually the press found out about what Kenneth had saw. And they started calling him for interviews. So he started taking a few interviews and then it went nationwide. He started getting calls from newspapers and outlets all across the country to the point that it had just gotten out of hand. As he said, quote, "This whole thing has gotten out of hand. I just want to talk to the FBI or someone. I wonder what my wife back in Idaho thinks of this." End quote.
Why was he not in Idaho with his wife?
He's on business. He has to go to Yakima, and then he has other business in other parts of Washington, like Snohomish County or Skamania.
Ogdenville.
Yes, by gum, they're on the map. So the thing that really kicks the sighting off, though, is that multiple people found by the press and the Air Force corroborated what Kenneth had seen over Mount Rainier. People on the ground, some people who were flying by also, all said they saw these various lights in the sky. And this story is also entirely where the term flying saucer is born.
Oh.
So following the spread of Kenneth's story, America fell into what is called the 1947 flying disc craze.
Yeah. They were all dancing across the nation.
Bill Haley and the Comets were outlawed for fearing the Americans.
Boo!
Were they around in 47 or was that like a 50s thing? That was probably
That sounds like a 50s thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. So between June 26th and July 11th, there were reports of flying saucers in the entire lower 48, Ontario, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and British Columbia. Over 800 sightings would make the news during this time. And of those 800, one was Roswell. And somehow that gets to be the one that overtakes pop culture history.
Yeah, man, the Pacific Northwest, we underestimate just how much weirdness goes up there.
Yeah, well, especially knowing that during this period, a lieutenant governor said he saw a flying saucer in California. They were like
official, and this was before, 2020 when the whole world just went bonkers.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and Roswell gets the stick because you get all those fun little bits, like the military comes out to scoop everything up, and they're not gonna 100% explain what it was. And in 1980, someone claims that there is an alien body that which no one claimed or thought before then. And if you look at the pictures of the wreckage, it's mylar and tinfoil. It looks like someone shredded all those blankets they give to refugees. It's
Um,
there's not a piece of solid metal amongst it. It is very clearly an army weather balloon that they went out to get.
yeah, give me some unknown technology and then we can talk.
Yeah. I mean, also, the wreckage was a lot closer to another town than Roswell. It was like quite a distance from Roswell, but that's where they took it. It's all bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. Get a better story.
Roswell was deep in debt
Yep.
and they saw an opportunity and they took it. I'm not gonna fault them for getting the bag.
No, that's fair. That's fair. No, look, if you know a rancher with a deformed pig and you could make a claim that's an alien body, go with it. Get your fucking money.
Oh, poor pig.
Like that pig is living its best life in formaldehyde and painted gray. After this UFO craze swept the nation, people started forming UFO clubs. People just wanted to talk about things that they'd seen, things that they'd read about, and some people wanted to talk about their legitimate experiences. Whether it's, I directly saw this and here's where it was, or I saw an alien on the ground, or I was taken on a ship against my will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna go out here and mock people who claim to be contactees or abductees. I'm sure there are plenty of explanations. Sleep paralysis is a bitch.
Ooh.
That thing that happens to people when you wake up and for the first 3 minutes you see moving shadows and your brain is like in between dream state and waking, so you see a lot of weird shit. I mean, or people are just very good dreamers. I mean, there's a lot of things that could do this. Some people would talk about their abduction experience under deep hypnosis, which during the 80s was very believed, but we learned in the 90s is not to be believed because you can implant all kinds of thoughts during that, and they may be real, they may not be. But I'm going to go forward with this with the belief that it has happened. That's the baseline I'm going to have here, is that at least one person has talked to an alien. At least one person has been on an alien ship against their will.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I like this.
Because there are some people you cannot
Believers.
trust with this, but there are some. I mean, look, I think that's a solid baseline, so we're not making fun of people. So yeah, so people start kicking off all these UFO clubs to talk about this, and quite honestly, I'd probably join it. It sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. Everyone just went through a war. They somehow survived. They're still young.
You bring your worst Jello dish and just spend the day.
Yeah, you're trying to make sense of, the calamity that just happened. Let's
Right?
talk about UFOs.
Yeah, it's like this is the best way for me to ignore my PTSD, which I am not allowed to talk about. So let's
Indeed. Yeah.
go. So, around a decade after the UFO craze kicked off, Gabriel would find himself the chairman of his local UFO club, the Los Angeles Interplanetary Study Groups. By the time Gabe had achieved this title of chairman in 1956, he'd become a bit of a local celebrity in UFO circles. Now, while some people claim they've seen UFOs or hit the jackpot of being an abductee and can go on that circuit, Gabriel had a very unique third specialty. And to understand his skill and the direction that Gabriel would take with his belief, we got to talk about something called theosophy. I feel like we might have talked about it in the past, but it's a good thing to redo. Una, are you familiar with theosophy?
I feel like the name is very recognizable, and I'm sure we have talked about it before, but I will need a refresher.
I think we might have talked about it during the Victoria Woodhull episodes. It feels like it would have come up then.
Okay.
So theosophy was an occult religion started in the 19th century by Russian immigrant Helena Blavatsky. It's kind of a blend of Hinduism, Buddhism, the teachings of Plato, but the simpler gist is that Helena can mentally communicate with the great thinkers throughout history and across the veil of death. But also reincarnation is a thing, and those thinkers of ancient wisdom are alive and living in Tibet right now, and we don't know where, but I can talk with them with my mind and I'll tell you what they're saying.
And I need money for it because it's a long distance call.
Yes, the rates are awful. Cricket is not a thing yet. I don't have Mint. It is. Yeah, it's essentially what kicked off the New Age movement here in the Western world of hyper fetishizing Southeast Asian culture and Hinduism and Buddhism
And scarves.
Exactly. Yeah, it comes all from this. Theosophy also is credited with kicking off a number of cults as well. My personal favorite is the Saint Germain Society, or the Society of Saint Germain. They have a place here in Chicago. They have a whole ass building downtown.
Get out.
They do a yearly passion play that is about 6 hours long, and they perform it on their own stage at Mount Shasta.
Shasta. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Mount Shasta is the reddest flag you can find in the leftist world. Yeah, there needs to be a horror movie set on Mount Shasta at some fucking point. But yeah, and so this whole thing with Theosophy of being able to communicate with great thinkers, it really kind of lends itself to being able to communicate with the great thinkers and the great minds of not just Earth, but the universe. And so it's sort of like a space age Theosophy, if you will. So by October 1956, Gabriel and the Los Angeles Interplanetary Study Groups had something really big to share with the city. They would place an ad in various newspapers detailing a pair of upcoming events. The first was a showing of a documentary called They Have Seen Flying Saucers that was going to be shown at the Embassy Auditorium on 9th and Grand in downtown LA. The ad promised that it would be, quote, sensational.
No!
My favorite part. It's really good. It flows so much better than it reads. It's frustrating. Following the film, Gabriel would speak of his political plans of starting a new political party, which he called, quote, God's New Political Party. Didn't have a name yet, but that's the gist.
That's up to God.
I know. He's working on the details. He doesn't want me to release the early drafts. But the biggest deal would be the evening's closer, a recorded message from Mars. I'm sure you've heard of this message. It's very famous now. It was the first message we got here on Earth of life from other planets. Like, they play it in 3rd grade. It's that important.
What?
No, it's...
What?
So, it's
you
Pennsylvania.
Pulled my leg, Dusty.
Yep, this is Ohio Public School. Goddamn deal with it. So this message would be a 6-minute tape recording from Mon Ka, president of Mars. He would
Come on, they do not have a. Okay, I'm already.
Do you want me to spell out Mon Ka?
No. Yes.
Capital MON hyphen lowercase K-A.
This is terrible.
I also find it very funny that Mars doesn't need last names. That's pretty impressive.
But they have a president.
Mm-hmm. They just have that many first names that you don't need a last name.
I mean, this is already giving 12th grader with a creative writing assignment vibes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously, if you said he was like the Pope of Mars or the King of Mars, you could probably get away with a single name and people would be like, that's fine. But if you're the president of Mars and you have one name, unless you're like Prince or Cher of Mars, I don't see how that works.
Is Monka Martian for president? Give me...
Oh, God, he's president?
No, we're fucking up because we're not honoring and acknowledging.
You know, this is chai tea and non-bread all over again.
Exactly.
So Mon Ka would state in his address that on November 7th at exactly 10:30 p.m., he was going to fly a Martian ship to Earth with the support of the Martian Space Federation and hover above the city of Los Angeles at a height of about 10,000 feet. He would then give a speech to the people of the city that will play over all TV and radios. Mon Ka did make a request, though, and it was that all LA radio and TV stations promised not to broadcast for 2 minutes at 10:30, because essentially they could overtake the airwaves if they wanted, but he didn't want to do something against the Earth's will. It's like, you can do it if you want, but I'm not going to be a dick about it.
That would go towards explaining why we haven't had more Martian interaction.
It's, we're going to get more explanations for that, I think.
Oh, no, okay.
I hate to say it, Gabriel, I think, makes some good points as to why no one has shown up.
Oh, boy.
So Mon Ka makes this plea. And so following this speech, the ship would then return to Mars, and I assume after that, diplomatic ties between the planets would begin. In total, no TV stations would agree to stop airing at that time, as would no radio stations in LA.
They're like, yeah, get fucked.
However, there was one radio station in San Luis Obispo that decided, fuck it, sure, this could be fun. And promised to be off the air for 5 minutes, just in case they showed up late.
Oh my goodness, that's really cute.
So Gabriel got word of this, but expressed a bit of concern that it wouldn't work, because San Luis Obispo is about 190 miles away from Los Angeles, and unless the ship changed plans on where it was going to go, they probably wouldn't be in range of the message. So yeah, so it might work, it might not, but thanks. Either way, the advent meeting at the Embassy Auditorium implored people to gaze their eyes to the stars on the night of the 7th. Also, if you could please donate $1 to the Interplanetary Study Groups, we'd really appreciate it.
Smash that subscribe button.
Look, alien belief doesn't pay itself, at least not at this point in history. So after this, the story goes international. And this is especially when journalists got to hear the recording for themselves. Actually got passed around pretty heavily. It was not that hard to get it. They would note that Moncaw spoke in a slow, soothing, and measured tone that bore many resemblances to the mid-Atlantic accents, which is very convenient that was very popular with actors at the time. Moncaw would close off this message by saying, Adone Vasu, which Gabriel would say, that's Martian for aloha.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Gabriel would take more and more interviews coming from the Moncaw recording and build his own brand based off of this. But not only did he have the message from the King of Mars, but he'd also been collecting broadcasts from the Martian radio station KOR. He'd gotten them through magnetic energy and noted that the broadcasts were always in the predominant language of whatever nation they were beamed towards, which is why they were never in Martian.
They're just that good. They just learned all the languages.
They're just really considerate. I think Mars might be part of the Midwest.
They're woke as hell.
Fucking woke ass planet. That's why we're closer to the sun, because you guys don't get out of bed in the morning.
Burn.
Yeah, take that, Mars. What are you gonna fucking do? Yeah, you got a bigger mountain. I don't give a shit. I got freedom. So the pieces written about Gabriel in this event were mostly in the vein of like, wow, look at this guy. But Gene Sherman of the LA Times would do his job a little bit by being the only person to ask Gabriel the $1 million question. If the aliens don't show up, does this prove that you're wrong and they don't exist? And Gabriel responded with this banger. Quote, well, it doesn't disprove you don't exist if you don't show up for work in the morning, does it?
Boom! Boom!
Yep. It's I think any other person in this situation would have fallen into any number of word salad, but Gabriel is good at this. He's very good at this.
Yeah, motherfucker. Read some philosophy.
And if any other reporter in LA deserves a good job sticker, it would be Omar Garrison of the LA Mirror. And this is because he actually looked into where the Moncaw recording came from. So Gabriel seemed fine with people assuming that he was the originator, but he seems to have never said that outright, which is good because he wasn't. What set Omar off was that the same news of the aliens showing up had made its way independently to London, where a UFO club there had been playing the recording and had actually gotten some DJs to play it on the radio. So now the Moncaw recording was the London announcement, and people started to think that this announcement came straight from London, despite the fact it had been growing in Los Angeles this whole time.
Amazing. Here comes the remix.
It's got Oasis. It's a lot of argument.
Oh, no.
So this definitely perked Omar's ears. So he contacted a ufologist or ufologist. I'm not really sure what
ufologist.
A person who studies UFOs. But this guy is also a heavy skeptic. He wants to believe, but you got to prove it to him. It's a dude by the name of John Otto, and he played the tape for John. And John immediately knew who it was when he heard the voice. In Detroit, there had been a 26-year-old man by the name of Dick Miller, who led his own UFO club called Solar Cross. John had been asked to look into him after Dick told his group that a UFO captain had mentally contacted him and told him a ship was going to be arriving outside Detroit on a specific day at a specific time. They all hopped in their Hudson, drove out to this field, and Dick said, hey, I'm going to be right back. They want me to go on the ship first. But, just keep the car on, keep the radio on, and we'll see, they'll probably try to contact you through there. And so after a few minutes of Dick being gone, the radio comes alive, and it's Dick. He's like, guys, I'm on the spaceship right now. I can view you guys through this space age screen. I can see you guys sitting there. The aliens are super glad you showed up. This is amazing. I wish I could bring you guys up, but they can only carry one guy at a time. Tractor beam technology ain't what it should be yet, but we're gonna get there.
This is the saddest LARPing I've ever heard.
So after a few minutes of that, John shows up back to the car, and one person in the car thought, hey, wait a minute. That's awful quick to go from a spaceship in space to Earth. So this guy contacts John Otto.
At least.
Yeah. He's like, look, I want to believe this, just not that bad. So he contacts John Otto, is like, this is weird, right? And so he and John start asking around, and they end up finding one of Dick's accomplices, and they lean on him a bit, and the guy eventually takes them to this trailer that was very close to where they parked the car, and we opened it up. It is full of radio equipment, and he showed them the tools he used to be able to hack in. It's not hacking, to be able to hack into the radio of the car to make it seem like they were taking over the radio. And after that, Dick Miller had to leave Detroit, but don't feel
run out of Motor City.
Yeah. How dare you lie to me about auto cars and spaceships, you dick. So John Otto had experience with this guy, and he knew as soon as he heard it, like, that's Dick Miller. But the thing that proved it is that Dick Miller was selling copies of the recording for
Come
$4.50 a pop.
on. Yes.
He
Listen to
was
my
selling
SoundCloud, y'all.
he was selling a 6-minute, I assume, roll of tape for $4.50, which is $49 in today's money.
Shut the front door. First of all, it never ceases to amaze me, inflation. But
Yeah.
secondly, what?
Yeah. I mean, you gotta make money to buy all that radio equipment to hack into cars.
Yeah, to what end? Who knows?
Look, man, you gotta work really hard to get a signal through a Corsair. I don't know. I've run out of cars. Despite this, Gabriel Green was still 100% certain the recording was real. He just could not be swayed on this.
Yes.
The Air Force was also forced to give a statement because so many people were contacting them about a ship showing up. And I assume through a chorus of exasperated sighs, they said, yes, we're going to be watching out because that's what we're always doing already. So Gabriel would spend the final days trying to goad people into having him live on TV to explain, like, okay, here's who the aliens are, here's when they're going to show up, and then to be able to talk people down after the aliens do talk to them so people don't freak out.
Sure. Yeah.
But no one takes him up on this. And surprise, surprise, they did not show up that night. Only
What?
one. Yeah, I know. It's a real bummer. Oh, I forgot to mention. So there is one consolation prize to not being on TV, and it's that Eileen Mosby, who was of the United Press International at the time. She has the claim to fame of interviewing Lee Harvey Oswald 4 years before he killed JFK.
Oh.
Yeah, she's a bit of a badass. Did kind of a fun story on this whole thing going down. And during the story, she outed Gabriel as a bachelor who still lived with his parents and had no job.
Oh, so we're just getting like all the stereotypes in this era.
Yeah,
amazing.
Like some people were like, this dashing bachelor, and she's like, he is a broke asshole who lives with his parents.
Yeah, it's like, as a woman, it is my God-given duty to tell y'all he is a scrub. There will be a song about this in decades to come.
Look, I believe Cardi B said it best where she said, broke boys don't deserve no pussy. And I know that's right.
True words.
Yeah, look, I don't see the lie. So on the day after the arrival, there'd only be one newspaper that was ready to report that nothing showed up. The Stockton Evening Standard and Sunday Record would note that spirits were actually very high in San Luis Obispo on the day, and that the city declared it Flying Saucer Day.
Cute.
Some of the London crowd had also assumed that since San Luis Obispo was the only city offering open airwaves, that Moncaw clearly would divert the ship to there. But as the paper would note, no ship ever arrived in California or any of the Earth. And as the paper lamented, quote, it's getting so you can't trust these fellows from outer space. They think as little of a promise as the Russians.
First of all, calm down. They don't owe you shit.
Yeah. It is like, yeah, probably, I'm sure a Russian lied to you once, but it's the Cold War. I get it. It's an easy joke to make. Probably your one joke, but yeah. So something like that would probably crush a lesser man, especially if you're a true believer like Gabe, which I do believe he is. But Gabriel took that whirlwind of attention and just used it to further establish himself in the UFO community. In 1957, he founded the Amalgamated Flying Saucer Clubs of America, Incorporated. And it was designed to sort of be like an umbrella group for all these UFO clubs that had no connections, no interpersonal discussions or anything like that. And so he's like, I will be the governing body of all these UFO clubs across the country and bring everyone together.
What could go wrong?
He would begin publishing the magazine UFO International, which looks a lot like 90s zines that you'd make in your basements.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, he's unemployed and living in his parents' basement. It's, you make do with what you got.
He lost his photography gig?
Oh, yeah, he quit that a while ago. I think once he started talking about UFOs, the LA school system said, I think we're going to go in a different direction. Also, I know you might be wondering, how is his relationship with his parents, him being unemployed and living in their basement? I assume, does California have basements in their, breakfast nook?
Yeah, attic maybe.
Yeah, and it seems that his parents were extremely supportive during this entire thing. His dad would actually end up being named the treasurer of the group.
That's cute.
Which in most instances, I feel like it's kind of a red flag, but I don't think they were raking in that much money. So,
is it nepotism if you go up?
Son, he really need a job. But if you're wondering, hey, when are politics going to get involved? The answer is April of 1958. During a meeting with the Vista Understanding Unit of Vista, California, he introduces his first ever policy. It was something he would call prior choice economics. He would stress that the idea wasn't entirely his. In fact, he'd been in contact with a group of folks from the planet Corendor, which orbited Alpha Centauri. And the theory was based on a set of mental conversations that they had, sort of, working out the kinks of all this. The idea behind prior choice economics is to combine the best parts of capitalism and communism. So what you do for things like food, shelter, water, what you do is you produce all of those to the maximum capacity possible to ensure everyone gets those things without having to pay for them. You just get them. That's it. That's prior choice economics.
I have no words.
Well, the other good part is that it completely eradicates the point of money.
Where does the capitalism part come in?
The best part of capitalism is not having money, Una. You got me. I mean, more capitalist things kind of start moving in towards later years, but at the beginning, it is pure space communism.
I'm all for space communism. I want that on the record.
I would like to own the means of production of all them stars.
Like, who's making this stuff? They probably have a government contract, and then, oh wait, we're back at where we started.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubts of being from space and being able to travel here as being they probably also figured out how to make communism work without human nature.
Yeah, or like not needing to pay rent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's prior choice economics. We've maxed out our ability to build affordable housing or
they're not stressing out about their student loans.
Nope.
They're whipping through space.
Yeah,
they're flying saucers.
I'm fucking taking a baseball bat to Jupiter's mailboxes, man. This is great. Making a good impression.
Oh no, they're shitty white teens from the 80s. No.
Look, we're gonna kick their ass at state next week. Deal with it.
We're going to nationals, god damn it.
Jupiter thinks they're so good at football, they just learned it last year. Just because they're
I'm gonna get the third base with Bleep Lorp.
Oh man, good for you though. I mean, Bleep Lorp's great. So another thing that he brought up is that he's not the only person who's been told about prior choice economics. In fact, all alien cultures have been able to reach out to the leaders of the world, including President Dwight Eisenhower, and had been given this knowledge, but they just didn't really seem open to it. So it's now up to him to try to push this theory as best he can. Going into 1959, Gabe was able to host the first ever convention of the Amalgamated Flying Saucer Clubs. It'd be held at the Statler Hilton Hotel in Los Angeles, and on the lead up to the convention, local news just kind of had a bunch of yuck articles about it all. It's like, hey, the weirdo parade's in town. We're so normal here in Los Angeles. This is weird.
Look at the dork convention.
Yeah. God damn it. Someone asked why he held the convention. Gabe simply said, because the people on Corendor asked him to.
Again, Gabe coming through with the great answers.
Yeah, he doesn't give a bad one. But of course you should hold a convention of all the UFO clubs in America. That sounds rad as fuck. And yes, the first day did involve all of them arguing about who's the best club, but that's gonna happen. You've never met each other. There's gonna be animosity. Then there's the party night at the hotel the first night, and then everyone's in love with each other.
Honestly, I would go. Yeah, I would absolutely go for the cosplay alone.
My God. Oh, we haven't even gotten to the cosplay, Una. So Gabriel expected between 1,000 to 2,000 people to show up. And the newspapers kind of made fun of him for this. It seemed like a pretty high number for them. And Gabriel was wrong. 2,200 people showed up.
Damn!
To listen to 45 speakers, all of which had been abductees at some point in time.
Holy shit.
Attendees were varied, some of which would become integral to Gabriel's life's work. Some of the people who showed up were Kevin Rowe, who's 51 from San Jacinto, California, and he claimed to have been to space about 350 times, give or take. He would say that the aliens would show up in front of his car in a really fancy convertible. He'd hop in, they'd like fly the car into space, and they'd tool around Jupiter and Pluto. Yeah, pretty fun time. There's Daniel Fry of El Monte, California, and he claimed that he took a spaceship round trip from White Sands, New Mexico to New York City in half an hour. And nowadays that flight would be a little less than 6 hours.
Okay.
There's Dick Miller, who I think you might remember is the guy who did the Monca tapes.
Hey.
He showed up, but now he has a new contactee. He's talking to a guy named Kla now, spelled capital K-L-A hyphen lowercase L-A. And you bet your ass he recorded it, and it's still $4.50 a pop.
Yeah.
In fuck inflation. People need to hear this, but I need to pay rent.
It's a sick ass beat on the back. You're gonna want this mixtape.
Also, Klala was not from Mars. He's from a planet near a sun called Aldebaran, which is the brightest star in the Taurus constellation. And I'm unsure if Dick is connected to the other recordings that were being sold, but they were selling old tapes of Monka. Another one from a guy named Merku, La Lore, and Soltec. There was also a guy named Carl Anderson who could contact Ashtar of Venus, and he would give people messages from Ashtar for 50 cents.
Undercutting the competition.
It's really unfair. You could get, I'm sure they're they're not going to add up to 6 minutes for 50 cents. And if they do, that's really rude to Dick, a man who is clearly a con artist. But to make things even worse, by this point, Dick had become the vice president of the Amalgamated Flying Saucers of America.
That he should even show his face at this convention as a Shonda, and he's the vice president.
Yeah, vice president. It would be a rotating door of people serving that job over time. But I hate the fact that Gabe to me seems such a pure person that he just believed Dick Miller implicitly. And God, I fucking hate that guy. But moving on. We have Harold Beyer of Granada Hills, California. Now, Harold would show up wearing a 5-star uniform and introduced himself as the National Executive Director of the Robot Rangers. And initially I was worried, but what it was is an alternative to the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. As he put it, we take up where the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts leave off. You could essentially be space rangers, but on Earth.
Dope.
Yeah, I'd have fucking done that as a child. No questions. Dan Martin of St. Louis, Missouri. Now, Dan might be one of the sadder stories that I read. He would accuse about 99% of the attendees there of being fakes. He also stated that his wife tried to have him committed for believing in aliens. And he would say that he's never seen a flying saucer, but he has been on one. During this time, he was on a Venusian ship, which is from Venus. The crew was based on Mercury, and they fed him a buffet of fruit salad and wine, which sounds awful.
You're gonna get so hungry. It's just sugar.
That's not filling. I feel like they didn't plan on picking up Dan, and they're just like, fuck, what do we have? What do we have that people can eat? It's not like we can grow anything on Mars or on Mercury. God damn it, fuck. Yeah, so it's ambrosia and wine. So who fucking knows? He did predict that in 5 years, someone would set off a nuke at the North Pole, send the planet's polarity out of whack, and that's when aliens would show up to Earth to act sort of like an interplanetary Red Cross, to just be like, you guys, all right, we've been letting you fuck things up. You've gone too far. Let's get this on track. And to everyone there who did claim that they were contactees, he demanded that they show proof. Just like he could, no proof supplied.
Oh boy. Oh.
And then we get into the cosplay section of the day. We have Lee Childers, who claimed not to be of Earth, but of the planet Tythan, that his real name was Prince Misum. His wife was going by Princess Naguna, and she declined to give her real name because she didn't want to anger her mother in Michigan. And finally, we have Lawrence Milton Boren. Now, Lawrence was the founder and director of the World of Tomorrow Foundation, and he brought with him a 16-year-old actress named Angel McCall, who was going to be the lead in a musical he'd written called From Venus with Love, and it was to be staged at Los Angeles' Horseshoe Stage Theater. McCall was dressed as an emissary from Venus, so she's wearing this space-age dress. She has a hoop for a crown. She has diamonds and rhinestones for eyelashes. It's probably just lead and glitter.
Yeah.
She's just rocking it. The musical does not seem to have ever been produced, but the blog World's Worst Records was able to find a record pressing of a couple songs that would have been in it. The musical is described as, quote, an outer space rumba mambo.
Jaw on the floor. This is great.
Yeah, the songs I heard do not sound like either genre. They would feature the songs Venus Land of Love and Cairo of Venus, and would feature the singing of George Danes as the Earthling and Gloria Ann as Cairo of Venus. There are recordings that got uploaded. Una, I'm going to leave this to you. Do you want to hear them?
Yes!
Okay. Oh, God forgive me.
How did you like our journey, Earthling?
Oh, it was the most, Kyra. A dream.
Well then, let's tell all the Earthlings about it.
Cool idea.
Well, I took a trip in space above to Venus, land of boundless love, abode of bliss.
Yeah. It's not good. Like, it
Wow.
kind of starts out with this Lou Reed sort of thing, and if it was him, I feel like it would just be pure irony, but it is very clearly earnest by people who shouldn't be there.
A space age lounge
Oh
act.
my god, they got the Billie Eilish fan thing going, but doing it all wrong. Yeah, so they were there to try to spread word of this musical that would never happen. All in all, it seemed like a hit. It seemed like a great time for everyone involved. As for Gabriel, he would take the event to build on his idea of God's new political party. He'd honed his message of prior choice economics and made it the core tenet of the new party that he was planning to make. His best draft for a name at the time was the Economic Security Party. He noted, yeah, it's not the best name, but it's really fitting because, quote, nearly all of our problems are in some way directly connected with economics or the lack of security in the lives of our people. There would be moments in the convention where religion also got really big too. So the urge to merge outer space with Christianity has kind of been around for a while because once you start accepting the fact that there is a wide universe out there, you kind of have to expand Christianity with it and just assume that it's been introduced everywhere because otherwise it's a tough bridge to cross, I would imagine.
Or give those missionaries something else to do, man.
My God. Yeah, if we're going to send you 80 years away, your children are going to have to do this work. Let's hope they still want to do it when you show up.
Get on going.
So some of the topics that they would bring up was questioning whether or not the Star of Bethlehem was a flying saucer
Yeah.
or if aliens parted the Red Sea for Moses.
These are great questions.
You know, I think it's not a bad leap to wonder if some of the more impossible things in the Bible were actually aliens. And the History Channel would make a ton of money based off this too, so everyone wins. And to make things even more fun, during the convention, a crew of Pacific Airlines were flying across the Pacific Ocean and saw flying saucers.
Get out of town.
So this became news during the convention, and Gabriel's like, you know, I'm paraphrasing. We kind of figured that this might happen because they know the convention's taking place, and the aliens want you to believe, so they're doing this to bring attention to the convention. But going into 1960, Gabe was ready to move on to the next level. After fine-tuning his political message, Gabriel was ready to run for office for real. And you know what? You might as well go big if you're going to do it. So on August 9th, 1960, during a press conference at the Millennium Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles, he announced that he would be running for president as the nominee of his very own party.
Just straight at it, going for prez.
He went so straight at it, he still hadn't come up with a solid name for the party yet.
Front row.
But he said he figured, if anything, that he and the party members could solve that when they had their convention later in the month. Now, newspapers in the 70s would state that they either chose the Outer Space Party or the Flying Saucer Party, but I'm 99% sure that those were jokes and not anywhere close to actual journalism. But back at the press conference, we do have to cover an uncomfortable detail. When asked who was running his campaign, Gabriel stated that his campaign managers were his contacts from Alpha Centauri. They, in fact, had asked him to run for president. They had success in fixing the problems on Mars, Venus, and Saturn, which, knowing what we know about the habitability of those planets today, kind of sounds like more of a threat than I'm sure Gabe would have thought. Yes, we fixed Venus very well. We can help fix Earth now, too.
Oh, we'll fix you good.
We actually work for Orkin. We got to meet a deadline here, Gabe. You got to help us. But yeah, but essentially they'd been like, we fixed these other planets. Earth is next on our checklist. You should run for president so we can start the work. The press would ask him, well, if this is true, why isn't anyone from Alpha Centauri here to announce with you? And I'm going to paraphrase once again. He said, what's the point? If they were here, you wouldn't believe them anyway.
Burn!
Yup, yeah, it's really good. But this would also bring up the bigger theme of these folks from Alpha Centauri, is that the last thing they want to do is just show up. They want the planet to be ready. They want to believe they exist. So when they show up, there's no panic, no one's freaking out, and they're willing to accept what is being told to them, and they're willing to listen. And he would say they could easily take over the Earth in a few hours, but it would kind of completely negate the point of helping humanity and guiding humanity on how to help themselves instead of dictatorially forcing themselves to. So that being said, he did have an Earth campaign manager by the name of Larry J. Wilsey. He had been an alien contactee who claimed to visit Venus, Mars, and the center of the Earth. And Larry would end up being a bit of an incompatible choice in the whole campaign. The main difference is that at the kickoff of the campaign, Gabriel was super realistic on his chances of winning. He'd be facing John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon, and outright said that he had no chance of actually beating either of them. But he did have the hopes of being able to win his hometown of Whittier.
Eh?
The problem though is Richard Nixon is also from Whittier.
Stop.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah, so it's a good goal. It's just probably not doable.
Bad year.
As for Larry, he kind of had a habit of over-exaggerating how much support Gabriel actually had, but we'll get to that. The party would never hold its convention, and by October 23rd, Gabe got a message from his alien friends. They really appreciated him running. They know it was a lot of work these past 3 months, but after watching JFK, they felt he would actually be really receptive to their message, and
This is so rude. Even the aliens are like, we want the hotter guy. Sorry.
he doesn't live with his parents. You said we could meet Marilyn Monroe. It's very exciting.
Have you seen him on TV? The guy glows.
Look, I know I'm a space alien, but that guy's out of this world. And so, yeah, they essentially said, you should drop out and endorse JFK. And being the good sport he is, Gabe did that. On the 24th, he drops out, endorses JFK, and JFK goes on to win.
Thanks to Gabriel's effort and the Alpha Centauris.
Look, that's essentially what a Larry Woolsey would say. This is something Gabe never said, and he gets a lot of shit for exaggerating his support. Gabe never said what a Larry said. A Larry said it's actually good that Gabe dropped out because at that point they were estimating he was going to get 500,000 votes, despite being a write-in candidate on the ballot in 0 states. And
Larry, stop lying!
And since JFK and Nixon was an extremely close election, Gabe dropping out guaranteed that JFK would win. So you're welcome. You're fucking welcome.
I would like my thank you card now, please.
I cannot find any more communication between Larry and Gabriel after this moment. So yeah, first campaign didn't really go that great, but it didn't really feature anything truly devastating either. He was just kind of in the background, and a few LA journalists mentioned him, and that was about it.
I also want to just pause and say, like, everyone deserves a hype man like Larry. It's just someone willing to like out and out lie for their buddy. And he's like, no, this guy is like, he's fucking good, man.
I mean, honestly, that is the job of a campaign manager, so it's not like he did anything wrong,
Larry
theoretically. So in 1962, Gabriel's going to take a second swing at the world of politics. But instead, running for president, since it's not an election year for that, he's going to run for U.S. Senator of California. And instead of running on his own third party, he's going to run in the Democratic primary. But also, he's going to do this without ever mentioning space once. On July 16th, 1961, he would release his campaign platform, which did continue to feature prior choice economics, but also included a ton of fairly progressive policies for the time. He called for ending all testing of nuclear weaponry, guaranteeing full, equal, and civil rights for all people, no questions asked, further expanding medical benefits to senior citizens, preserving the United Nations, repealing the Taft-Hartley Act, which limited the kinds of strikes and boycotts that a union could support and do, repealing the Landrum-Griffin Act, which regulates the internal workings of unions, and for a time banned members of the Communist Party from leadership positions within any union, passing the King-Anderson bill to extend Social Security benefits. And, I mean, look, this is one he did have, investigating the Pentagon over alien contact secrecy.
But one.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It came at the end after some really good ideas.
So many good ideas.
So going into the primary, his main competition would be State Senator Richard B. Richards, who had all the party support and name recognition, because with a name like that, it's kind of hard to forget.
It's so nice name twice.
Yeah, we printed him out of the mayonnaise machine, and here he is.
Oh my God.
So this time around, Gabe would pick a different campaign manager, this time choosing Cletus Goffard. Cletus was a member of the Amalgamated Saucers Club of America, but also was part of another group called the Universal World Union, which sought to prove the existence of guardian angels.
Okay. Aliens aren't enough.
No, you got to make it biblical. I imagine you could get more support for proving guardian angels exist than proving aliens exist. At least that's the feel I would get in some places.
That's totally fair.
It's not like he's out here being like, Nephilim are fucking real. Fucking giants walked around on the goddamn earth. It's in the Bible. Let's go to Texas. I'll find a giant head that's clearly an elephant skull, but that's a cyclops. And yeah, if you ever want to go down a fucking rabbit hole, look up fucking Nephilim. That is some alt-right biblical shit. It's great.
No,
it's probably not alt-right. It's just weird. It's fun and weird.
It's probably all right by now.
I mean, yeah. I could see there being a faction in QAnon that really believes in biblical giants.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Cletus is running the show. He's running it very normally, and newspapers resisted the urge to mention the UFO stuff for quite a while during Gabe's campaign. Instead of being the alien guy, he chose to label himself as the anti-bomb candidate and ran on the motto of win the peace with green. He would even begin getting endorsements from prominent anti-war voices, the biggest being Nobel Peace Prize winner Dr. Linus Pauling. And you know what? Leave it to the Associated Press to fuck it all up. They 2 weeks before the primary, they mentioned, by the way, you know this is the alien guy, right? This guy totally believes in aliens. He talks to aliens. What a fucking weirdo.
Way to mean girl it, AP.
Right. It is some real bullshit. I don't think it hurt him that much, but it was still a dick move. Like,
He
we
also
all
wants
agreed to be
equal
nice
rights for all humans.
Yeah. This fucking asshole saying that everyone's okay and should have rights. So Gabe ends up finishing second place out of 4. He'd get 171,000 votes, which is good enough for about 8.5%, which for a guy that had no name recognition whatsoever is really fucking good. He would lose pretty badly to Richard Richards, who got 82.6% of the vote. Richards, though, would end up losing to incumbent Republican Thomas Kuchel. Despite how well Gabriel objectively did, this race would mark the last for quite some time that he would ever run. But that's because plenty of saucer-based work was there for him to do. He would continue to run amalgamated space clubs, as well as their yearly convention. By 1966, their convention was in Reno and featured 4,000 attendees. Starting in 1964, he'd begun releasing photos of UFOs that were sent to him by members, and there were ones that he felt were the most compelling, which, I hate to say it, are the ones that look the most fake. They're, like, super clear. It's like, there's no movement in the pictures. It's very clear that someone strung something up, took a picture, and it just looked really good. By 1967, he would release his only book entitled Let's Face Facts About Flying Saucers. I tried to find a PDF of it, had no luck, but there was a loan review on Amazon that notes the book is only about 127 pages, that each chapter maxes out at 6, and that the book is more of a collection of abductee and contactee stories that range from clearly fake to pretty spooky.
Ooh.
But there's really no proof beyond, hey, here's a newspaper clipping we found to verify that someone saw something. In my opinion, though, the real high point during Gabriel's political hiatus was the creation of a bumper sticker that he sold that said, quote, "Flying saucers are real. The Air Force doesn't exist."
Yeah, suck it. Love the Navy.
He's so fucking smart with words. I hate it. I hate how good he is. By the 1970s, interviews had come to a bit of a lull. Local reporters would always get a quick quote from Gabriel for any UFO sighting stories, but nationally, Gabe's fame seemed to be running its course. He would be interviewed by the Wall Street Journal in 1971, which is kind of his last big name appearance, where he noted that aliens were probably never going to announce they're coming to Earth. And this was entirely because they were worried that if they showed up, people would either assume they were invaders or they were gods, and they did not need that stress.
Is he wrong? He's not wrong.
He's not fucking wrong. I mean, it's who needs that in their life?
Mm-mm.
So Green's depiction of aliens might be one of my favorites, that they're just super chill, they don't want any weird complications, and are totally fine to keep communication with a select few if need be. It's what makes them happy. They don't need more. Honestly, I think that Gabe would have been content to just fade into his work and never enter politics again. But an opportunity would come in 1972. And yeah, it's late in the story to add a new character, but I promise Una, this will not take long. Kirby Hensley was born in Burrsville, North Carolina in 1911. Much of his life is vague, but what is important to know is that in 1962, he would found his own church in Modesto, California, the Universal Life Church. Now, the church doesn't really have a specific religious focus, but is all about doing good, at least morally. Reincarnation is a thing, and that Jesus was just a guy. Now, I will say the last 2 parts about reincarnation being a thing and Jesus just being a rad dude, those are things that Kirby believed, but he stressed you didn't have to believe to be a member of the church.
So chill.
The thing, though, is that you probably know the name the Universal Life Church,
Yes.
because what they did is that they would ordain you as a minister for the low requirement of just asking, which they're still doing to this day.
Oh, I think friend who married me may have gone online,
Yeah.
and like, that's how we got certified or whatever.
I feel like half of millennials have been married by Universal Life Church ordained preachers.
Yeah.
So in 1963, Kirby would start his own political party, which he called the Universal Party, and would run for president as the Universal Party candidate the very next year. He'd run on a varied platform that included ending all taxes, ending the Electoral College, allowing Congress to decide when we print money and not the Federal Reserve, and forcing people to move from overcrowded cities to sparse public lands. It's a blend of libertarianism and a little bit of Pol Pot's worst ideas.
Yeah.
The campaign didn't go great. He finished dead last out of 10 candidates with a total of, let me check here, 19 votes.
Yikes.
Not great.
19?
19 votes. But undeterred.
1-9.
Yep, 1-9. Undeterred, Kirby would run again in 1968. And like Gabriel, he flat out said, I know I'm not going to win, but I just want to get my name and IDs out to the public. The big reason he wouldn't win, though, is that he had to spend the entire year fighting the Los Angeles Draft Board. So it turns out one of the ways that you can defer being drafted going into Vietnam, other than going to college, is being an ordained minister. And once people got word the Universal Life Church would ordain anyone, a ton of young dudes suddenly became clergymen. And this helped Kirby gain the nickname of the mail order pastor. He would spend the year fucking with the courts by ordaining 300 people in the midst of his trial and telling the news that he'd been ordaining people willy-nilly for 8 years, but suddenly it's a huge problem when the government wants to send their kids to war, which is weird because one of his presidential platforms is that we need to stay in Vietnam until we win.
What the? Come on, Kirby!
Oh, he's also against busing of students to desegregate schools.
No!
A fun thing too, he'd also been sending marriage certificates and verifying marriages, which were not legal.
Oh my gosh.
This time around,
monster.
In 1968, Kirby was able to land on the ballot in Iowa. He would claim he got on the ballot in 16 other states, but that is a lie. But you know what? Getting on the ballot in one state, is pretty good. It allowed him to finish and not last. He bumped up to 13th out of 15 with 142 votes. By 1970, though, Kirby had flown too close to the sun. Turns out his feelings about taxes were based on him believing that he shouldn't have to include income taxes for his church employees.
There it is.
And the IRS had a different opinion. To try to give himself less to worry about, Kirby left the Universal Party and created a whole new party, history-free of any sort of drama or tax issues, which he called the People's Peace Prosperity Party. He would try to run for governor as a write-in on that party, but he failed to get any of the paperwork done, and the party just kind of died after that. But now that the Universal Party was lacking a figurehead or a presidential nominee, Gabriel would step forward in 1972 and declare that he would be running for the endorsement at the party's convention in Chicago. Now, the convention would get delayed 2 months, and yes, they would have to move it to Flagstaff, Arizona, America's second Chicago. But a nice bonus of being in a, let's be generous and say, established political party is that you get to have a running mate. And at this convention, the party would select Daniel Fry of Merlin, Oregon. Daniel had made a fortune in Southern California, then moved to Oregon to found Understand Incorporated, a group that viewed universal understanding as the one path to obtain world peace. A fun note for Daniel, he had been scheduled to speak at the convention, but didn't know the convention was even happening or that he'd been scheduled until 3 days before the convention.
Oh, yikes.
And when he found out, he just loaded up his car and drove from Oregon to Arizona.
Oh my goodness.
And then he ends up being the vice presidential nominee.
Hey, here I am.
But I did forget to mention, we have talked about Daniel Fry very, very briefly early on. He's the dude who flew round trip in a spaceship from White Sands, New Mexico to New York City.
Oh.
So the campaign platform would keep a lot of Gabe's past policy. You got prior choice economics, but it's been tweaked a little bit. Because at this point, he's kind of realizing we can't really max out input for every product in the entire world. So they're just going to focus on the necessities that everyone needs for maxing out building, like I said, for food and shelter. For everything else, we're going to make it, but instead of it being money-based, you get a credit system based on how much good you put into society.
No.
And then you could spend those society credits to get these other non-guaranteed items.
It's called meta.
Oh, God, no. Like, I get what he's saying. I feel like what he's wanting to say is like, oh, this is how good people can actually be rich and get what they deserve. But, people aren't going to agree that's what it means to contribute to society. It's not...
Talk
anyway.
to any Protestant wasp. Like, Calvinism is based on the fact that it's like, if you are making a shit ton of money, that means you're God's chosen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not as fleshed out as it should be. Good for alien cultures being able to make this work. We're a bunch of murder apes. It's not going to work for us.
We have racism.
Yeah.
Factored in racism.
We've invented a bunch of bad concepts that we have to fix first. So some other things that Gabe brought into the campaign was he went against Kirby's past campaign and said that we need to leave Vietnam on day one. But Daniel Fry would also propose his own idea of creating an international Congress made of every, quote, race, nation, ideology, and philosophy to come together and document all their cultural principles to find common ground that everyone has to be able to create this universal understanding. Well, you have a problem with that? That doesn't sound like something that will take decades and then end in a horrible flameout.
Yeah. I mean, listen, like if the British Museum can itemize all of these things, Surely we can with living
Oh,
people.
God. Yep. Look, I'm sure that, like, I don't know, a certain shade of people won't suddenly decide that they're right about everything. And it's seriously going to take them like 10 years to decide what Word document they're going to use. Like, half of everyone wants to use Microsoft Word. Everyone else wants to put it in a Google Doc so everyone can edit it. It's just going to be a mess. And finally, Gabriel once again noted that he knew he wouldn't win, but he just wanted to get more people to know about his economic plan from the stars. Please believe aliens are real. They're getting sad. They want to help. Please
Do
just
you want
listen.
depressed aliens?
They're trying so hard to help you. The party would make the ballot again in Iowa, but nowhere else. And like Kirby before him, the ticket would finish last, 14th of 14, with 220 votes. And this would be Gabriel Green's last ever political campaign. From here, Gabe's life would blend back into the background. He'd continue to run the Amalgamated Flying Saucer Clubs of America, but he moved to Yucca Valley. Once he was there, he joined the Yucca Valley UFO Club, and they made him their publicity chairman. He'd make the occasional statement to the press whenever they had a quick UFO question, but here are a couple of my favorites. In 1991, a newspaper asked a large group of people the question, "Who is God?" And they asked Gabe, to which he said, quote, "God is the electromagnetic field surrounding the Earth out of which everything is compromised." Yeah, not a bad answer.
Totally answer.
In 1997, newspapers come to me and be like, "Hey, this Hale-Bopp comet is kind of making some people wonder if there's a spaceship on it. What do you think about that?" And I'm going to paraphrase what he said here, but it was like, probably no, but it'd be cool, right?
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
That's
think
honest.
so, but that'd be rad.
You're right. Yeah.
And after that would be the last newspaper that would ever talk to him, as best I could find. What we do know is that in the year 2001, he would end up passing away in Yucca Valley, California at the age of 77.
Oh.
I mean, we all got to pass at some point, I guess, but this might be the nicest person we've talked about.
Genuinely.
Like, there's no point where he's clearly running a grift. When he was asking $1 for the study groups back then, he wasn't asking for a lot. That was like a pretty decent amount to ask if you're printing newsletters and getting the word out and doing ads. He's not buying a Hudson on that money. He's not buying a flying crane. He's doing fine. And yeah, it's, with the baseline that yes, this has happened, aliens are real, people have been contacted. I like his vision of aliens that are just like, we want to help, but we're not going to force it. I don't know. What about you? Thoughts on Mr. Gabe Green?
I'm thoroughly charmed. This has been like the most harmless, untrigger warning at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. Might be the first episode where no one gets hurt.
No one, except possibly the feelings of some people when the aliens didn't show.
Yeah. There's that, or like the people that Dick Miller ripped off, but that was only like $4.50 per. Like, you get ripped off for $50 once. I feel like that's a lesson.
Yes.
I mean, we've all lost $50 for stupid reasons at some point. But yeah, I think that might be the only one.
So it can happen.
Yeah, even fucking Kirby is out here fucking with the IRS and giving everyone the right to marry each other. It's like, I don't agree with your racist busing feelings, but we've talked about worse.
Yeah.
If that's the villain of this story, my God, that's a light villain. This is Emperor Norton territory at this point.
Yes. I also love that, like, Gabriel and this whole UFO, like the UFO groups, they were getting started like in the late 40s and then into the 50s. I'm trying to remember when Ronald Reagan became governor of California, but either way, I know he was like definitely a believer.
Yeah, if I remember right, he said he saw a UFO, and then people were like, "That's Venus, Mr. President," which happens a lot. A lot of people assume that Venus is a UFO, so I could hit Reagan for a lot of stuff, but I can't hit him for that. Reagan became governor of California in 1967.
Oh, so much later. But yeah, he would have been at least in that milieu.
Yeah,
as like a B-movie actor.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
cool.
Yeah. So yeah, if anything, I just, with the baseline that these folks from the planet Corrender are trying so fucking hard, have clearly not done as good of a job as they think they did on Venus, Mars, or Saturn, but are still trying. I think it might have worked out for everyone in the end.
I also just love that, like, I think there is something to realizing that there's life out of space and then taking a closer look at humans as a single species and realizing, like, oh no, we're all equal, actually.
Yeah.
once there is an objective other,
Yeah.
the shit between us seems real petty.
Yeah, there's a reason Independence Day doesn't have an act break where everyone has to like go to the table to settle their wars for a few days.
Yeah. So I am all in favor of like more alien belief if it leads to more progressive ideology and like bettering of just the human landscape.
Yeah. Plus space is just cool. Space is great. So yeah, so that's the story of Gabriel Green. I don't know if we'll come across anyone as kind ever again, but I'm really hoping so.
Can't wait to go watch some more X-Files after this.
Oh my god, yes. I do love that show. I used to watch it on a very regular basis. It was like my Sunday night religion for quite some time. Until the movie. The movie was not great. Anyway, thank y'all for joining us on this outer space episode of Gadfly. And I guess we'll see you next week. You're on Gadfly?
Among the Stars.
Oh, man, I gotta use a voice modulator for the outro here. What do we got? All right, we'll see you next week.
On Gadfly.
Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?